All right, welcome into the breeze. I am Harrison Arns running the board here. We got host as always, Derek Pearson and Haas with us as well. I'm wearing my Bears crew neck because the Bears are officially on the clock, so that's always a good feeling here. Got to support those guys. And obviously, yesterday was a wild NFL slate, in particular the last game. So we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. But Haas, I'll throw it to you. And your mic is muted, by the way, so just to be sure, get that unmuted there. Perfect. So how you guys doing?
Great. Before we start, what's up, Bears?
Oh, excuse me. Hold on here. There we go. Now we can hear you guys.
I was saying before we start, I have to say, the Bears.
Yeah, there it is.
Who do you want? Number one. Do you want a quarterback, or you trust your guy there, Fields?
Oh, I like Fields. Absolutely. I think there's reports that Bears are looking to trade Fields. I think that's just a front, so people think they really want that number one pick. They're going to trade that away. They're going to trade that number one pick to get more picks. Because I mean, you don't really need a number one guy right now. You don't need the number one draft pick. So I think they're going to use that, give Fields some help, and act like they really do want a quarterback, and then hopefully get people bidding a little higher than they would otherwise. Because if the Bears don't want it, they're gonna get some low bids. So by all means, I think you trade that. And you just get a king's ransom for that number one pick. And from there, you just look at the field and you figure out, what are the biggest weaknesses? Do we want to patch up the defense? Do we want to give Fields some more weapons at receiver in particular? Because I like the running backs. So I think it's going to be wide receivers and probably defense. But I'm feeling pretty good. Justin Fields, as of now, is the guy. I don't think you move away from him at all.
I know DP, and I think I can guarantee he thinks differently than that.
well, here's what happens with teams that have earned the first pick in the NFL draft, which means they have a recent and consistent and constant level of making bad decisions about talent and personnel. Like the two are tied together so completely well that the decision makers in these programs, in these organizations, never change. They never learn. And what seems logical for all the fans and all the opposing teams, the Bears are going to do the opposite.
Don't say that.
They're going to listen. If you're going to say that a recent number one pick was okay. Now, we can talk recent history of choosing defensive players, and you can say, hey, we actually drafted some guys, but we couldn't develop them or keep them. You couldn't develop or keep them. Then you could say, well, let's help out the one guy that we got right, even though we didn't really trust him to be the right guy, because we literally tried to give his job away to somebody less than. We literally tried, and then he just was so great that he won the job. Then you could do the logical thing is, one, get a protector for him. Two, get him a weapon, a full-on weapon, who would be elite and one of the best in the league at that position. He could go and get a Jefferson. He could go get, right? He could do what everybody else in the division did. Or you can go and get the next Hutchinson, right? Which is a team in the division did that thing. Now you can copy success, or you can do what you want, which is choose a guy from a history that says, I don't know how to choose a guy. Harrison, look, if I asked you who the best player was in college football, what would you say?
I mean, you're probably looking at C.J. Stroud if he decides to go to the draft.
See, you're thinking like a Bears fan. There are three defenders. There are three defenders at critical NFL positions who are elite. Elite. Right? You can go get a linebacker, an edge. You can get a middle linebacker, an edge linebacker, or downhill safety that will reset. Or you can go to a defensive tackle who's easily the best player in college football. Right?
That's fair.
who plays the Bears' way of playing, which will make everybody better around him. He'll occupy two blockers. You can go to Georgia, make the decision, make the call now, and get you a 6-time future Pro Bowler to put in the middle of your defense to help make everybody better. You can go to Georgia and get, or go to Alabama and get a linebacker who plays linebacker the way the Bears have historically played linebacker, right? To have a guy who is a tackle maker and a deal maker and a play. You can go to Georgia, Alabama, and get a wide receiver that gives you a guy for Justin Fields to rely on and build on. Or you can get him a runner that Justin Fields can just turn to 30 times a game and let somebody else do the heavy lifting. You can go and get a silverback from Georgia, LSU, Alabama, who will protect Justin Fields for the next 10 years. It's going to take some effort for the Bears to screw this up. But the Bears are an all-effort sort of deal. Right? Like, if you got any of those players, the Bears fans should throw confetti and have a parade. I have a sneaky suspicion that they're not going to do that.
So do you think they should try to hold on to that, or do you think they should just trade down and then try to get some assets, or do you think they should just go big, get a guy that they're absolutely certain will dominate in the NFL, or at least play right away?
The pressure of the one is to get the one right. Get one right. The problem with the one is if you trade down for 2 ones, which is the only acceptable trade. Mm-hmm. If you're not going to get several ones for number 1, then don't do it. Don't do it, because you're still in place. You're going to get a second one in the first 3 picks of the second round.
I mean, see what Miami got for the 3rd overall pick.
Right. So
they got Tyreek. They got Waddle. Who's the third? They got Chubb. They got 3 studs for that number 3 pick.
But do you trust? So if you trust the Bears to make the 1 pick right, then at some level you could trust them to make the trade and make 3 picks right, because we know people will make mistakes and bypass some talented players. 3 starters is better than 1 Pro Bowler. But you got to get it right. And the problem is the decision makers at the Bears haven't always made the best decisions. Again, they tried to say that Justin Fields wasn't the guy.
Yeah.
Like, they tried to squash him.
This is golden and all, but we have 3 months to tell the Bears how bad they are and the things they should do. With number one picks and all those picks last night that he threw. That's probably what we should be talking about right now with Trevor Lawrence. Just that the second half, the belief that they could come back. They're the cardiac kids now. They've been losing a lot and coming back and winning all these games. And so is Jacksonville scary? Can they beat Kansas City, or is that going to be a blowout?
I got my opinion, but I'll let you go, DP. You got a smile on your face.
Can we pump the brakes on crowning Trevor Lawrence the next greatest thing?
He had 4 picks. I didn't say he's great.
He did. Well, I'm saying this to the fan base, that he is the accumulation of all of his things rather than just some of them. And we know that Trevor Lawrence has the clutch gene. We know that. We know that Allen has the talent gene, but does he have the clutch gene? That's what separates Brady, Mahomes from Rodgers, etc. That being able to clutch in those moments, to be constantly great, and then to be greater in the clutch than everybody else. Trevor was greater than Justin Herbert. That's what happened last night. He's better than Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's fine. He's going to be an all-pro quarterback for a long time. And he'll have a chance now to take this bitter pill and turn it into greatness. Like, he'll have that chance. But do you really are you going to be willing to bet more on Trevor Lawrence than on Patrick Mahomes.